Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we will be diving into Black Sabbath's The Last Supper concert DVD. It comes in a standard plastic DVD case with no booklet included, but the back of the case has a few band photos, the set list, and the credits. So, The Last Supper was the very first concert DVD that I played on the brand new DVD player I bought back in 2000, shortly after they first hit the market. I was just blown away by how much better the picture and sound quality could be compared to my old, worn-out VHS concert videotapes. Black Sabbath's Technical Ecstasy was also one of the very first albums I ever bought as a kid who was just discovering the wonders of hard rock and heavy metal. The year was 1976. I was about 10 years old, and honestly, I had no idea which bands or albums were worth getting at the time. Luckily, I took my buddy's advice, who told me to go with anything by Aerosmith or Black Sabbath. I ended up buying Aerosmith's debut album because I had heard Dream On the radio, and Black Sabbath's Technical Ecstasy solely because it had the coolest album cover on the shelf. Most Sabbath fans dismiss it as one of their weaker albums, the end of the Ozzy glory days really, but it will always be special to me since it was my first introduction to these godfathers of heavy metal. The Last Supper features the four original Black Sabbath members, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Ozzy Osbourne, and Bill Ward, during their historic reunion tour of 1999. They had first gotten back together in late 1997 to play two concerts in their hometown of Birmingham, England. Prior to that, the original Black Sabbath had been defunct pretty much since about 1979 after Ozzy was fired from the band. Butler and Ward would also leave and rejoin the band multiple times, while Tony Iommi put together various incarnations of Sabbath with other renowned singers such as Ronnie James Dio, Ian Gillan, and Glenn Hughes. The video begins with Tony, Geezer, Bill, and Ozzy being interviewed together and explaining how and why they decided to reunite after 20 long years. This eventually gives way to a majestic, distant shot of the entire stage show, flashing brilliant white lights, which systematically maneuver to cover every inch of the dry ice-enveloped stage before Iommi launches into the monster opening riff to War Pigs. Seeing these four guys up on stage together again, belting out my favorite Black Sabbath song, gave me some serious goosebumps and was really worth the price of the DVD alone. The band was in fine form and sounded great, while Ozzy characteristically stumbled around the stage looking way too burned out for his age, only about 50 years old at the time, while also delivering some pretty flat vocals for the most part. Wind him up and push him out towards the stage though, and he always somehow manages to deliver the good enough goods for his legion of adoring fans. The concert footage was taken from 6 different shows, and most of the songs even include footage spliced together from different shows. This became readily apparent during the opening number, when shots of Bill Ward alternate back and forth between him wearing a red sleeveless shirt and then being completely shirtless. At least one of the venues they recorded at had an in-the-round style stage set up, which was shown during some parts of the concert, but most of the film featured more traditional stage with a normal backdrop, a large video screen in the middle, and some other large props surrounding the back and sides of the stage, a la Spinal Tap. The stage show looked pretty incredible in both instances, though. The song selections were very satisfying and represented every part of the classic Ozzy era of Sabbath. I was pleasantly surprised to see them break out Dirty Woman from Technical Ecstasy, as the song has some of Iommi's best guitar work, and the outro guitar solo is simply jaw-dropping. It's a top 10 Sabbath song for me easily. Ozzy's introduction to Sweet Leaf was classic, but I'm sure he uses that same "I thought I smelled some of that wacky weed" line every time he plays that song. The rest of the set list was phenomenal collection of Black Sabbath's best songs, including Into the Void, Children of the Grave, NIB, Paranoid, and the song that started it all, Black Sabbath. So now comes the bad news. Unfortunately, this DVD is primarily a documentary film with some concert footage mixed in. The saving grace here is that the band interviews are incredibly fascinating and feature all four guys pouring their hearts out about their decades of alcoholism and drug abuse and how it led to the eventual demise of the original great band. I recently read both Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler's excellent autobiographies, and it's a minor miracle that any of these guys made it past the age of 40, really. Fortunately, the song performances are mostly intact, but with the exception of War Pigs, they all get interrupted by interview footage both during and between each song. This was pretty maddening to say the least, as it totally killed the flow of these epic song performances and could have easily been avoided by also including a concert-only option. If you go into this knowing all this and don't really mind these types of concert documentary hybrids, then The Last Supper is certainly one of the best of its kind. The video is presented in what appears to be a non-anamorphic widescreen format designed for older standard aspect ratio TVs, so you will see black bars on the top and bottom of the screen when watching it on a newer widescreen display, unfortunately. For the most part, the picture is pretty sharp and clear, with only hints of graininess and distortion, and the colors are fairly vibrant as well. The camera work was outstanding, with a good amount of full stage shots to complement the impressive variety of great close-up angles. There were a lot of crowd shots, a few too many for my taste, but it did not detract from the performances significantly and really put the insane enthusiasm of these Sabbath fans on display. The dozens of lovely ladies straddling their boyfriend's shoulders and flashing their big, beautiful breasts during Dirty Woman did kind of distract me just a little bit, though. The Dolby Digital 5.1 surround and LPCM stereo tracks both sounded very good, but they were mastered a bit low and had to be cranked up a few extra notches on my amp to compensate. With sufficient volume applied, the 5.1 surround track in particular really came to life and provided a thunderous mix that put you right in the middle of the stadium crowd. The special features included a written biography that you can page through on the screen, a tour photos section, and a 7-minute reunion EPK, which is just more documentary footage, really. The set list shown here featured 13 songs, and the combined documentary and concert footage totaled about 106 minutes. As for my ratings of this concert DVD, my overall production rating is a 6 out of 10, and my overall performance rating is an 8 out of 10. So, obviously, this wasn't the last supper for Black Sabbath, as they have performed together several times since, and even put out a few new albums and concert videos. On July 5th, 2025, Black Sabbath are scheduled to reunite once again for a final concert dubbed Back to the Beginning at Villa Park in Birmingham, England. This will be the first time in 20 years that the original lineup of Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward will perform together. But will it be the last? Maybe you can sell your soul for rock and roll after all. Alright, that's it for me today. Let me know your thoughts on Black Sabbath's The Last Supper in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Please also hit up those Amazon links below to support the channel and grab some of the DVDs and CDs I mentioned in the review. Thanks, and catch you guys next time.